Hello and welcome. This is Faceless Opinion, the fabled Dragonborn of legend. Welcome you back to Skyrim Month, the series where I go over Skyrim related topics throughout the entire month of November. When it comes to quest lines, you can break them down to three categories. There are some that we like, there are those we generally dislike, and then we have those that are just okay. For most of us, I would say that the main story of Skyrim would fit into that last category. Out of all the people I talked to about it, not one has said that the main questline is their favorite one. I have my reasons as to why I think the main story underdelivers and is more disregarded compared to others. Now the question is, where did it go wrong? The dragons returning and you being the legendary Dragonborn, a person who has the ability to not just mimic the power of the dragons, but to absorb their very souls, making you the best bet in slaying the World Eater, Alduin, and saving Skyrim from his rule and destruction. Now, that sounds good on paper. It follows the Chosen One trope from many different and popular stories. However, the issue it has compared to others would have to be the lack of engagement. Out of all the characters that have relevance within this questline, the ones that I would say that make it somewhat compelling would have to be Jarl Balgruuf, Parthenax, and maybe the Greybeards, particularly Arngar, not the others. Now, what reason do I have to mention any of those characters? The main quest revolves around the Dragonborn. That may be true, but let's be real honest, the Dragonborn isn't carrying this story, because the Dragonborn isn't a character per se, but is more of a vessel which we use to enjoy the game. It's the supporting characters that are the ones that carry the quest lines, and I'm not just referring to this one, it applies to all of them. Those characters I name dropped earlier play a more important role in the grand scheme compared to others like Delphine and the Blades. The quest Parthenax is a good example of that, where the Blades order you to kill Parthenax. Look at all the things that the Blades have brought to the table, then compare to what Parthenax has brought to the table. Now tell me, who contributed more to you helping defeat Alduin? The same thing can be said about both Arngar and Balgruuf. The Blades literally contributed nothing. They didn't help the Dragonborn build upon the power of the voice, didn't help fight against Alduin on top of the throne of the world, didn't help catch Odahviing at Dragon's Reach, didn't help when you had to go to Skuldafn. When it came to the things that mattered the most, they weren't there. The only thing the Blades were worried about was the Thalmor. Speaking of which, the Thalmor subplot didn't contribute to anything, made you wonder what the point was. After the Thalmor embassy and trying to find Esbern, they literally faded away from the story altogether. Why was so much time spent on these two groups? Nothing really came of them and dragged the questline down as a result. They may say that they care about the dragon uprising, but their actions prove otherwise. Let's talk about the main enemies of the main quest, the dragons. These are supposed to be dangerous creatures that can destroy a town with ease, but to me, they don't come off as that. The dragons come off more as a random occurrence than a big threat that puts Skyrim at risk. During the main story, dragons only attack three places: Helgen, the western watchtower outside of Whiterun, and Kynesgrove. Those instances help establish the threat of the dragons, but that's all we really get on that. The only time we face off against another dragon during the main story, which doesn't just spawn there but is something you actually have to deal with, would have to be the two fights against Alduin. And I guess the confrontation against Odahviing as well, though the intent wasn't to kill him, just to capture and interrogate. The dragons should be a bigger deal than they actually are. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that the dragons are a minor annoyance than an actual threat. There are two reasons for that: the lack of variety when it comes to individual dragons, and no large-scale impact on the world. When it comes to the dragons, yes, there are different types like Blood, Frost, Elder, Ancient, Legendary, blah 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 blah. But the thing, they all function the same way. Fly around, use fire or frost breath, land, then fly again, which makes every encounter you have feel the same, since you can use the same tactics to take whatever dragon you are fighting. Not to mention, they only use like 2, maybe 3 different types of shouts. Dragons are supposed to be experts when it comes to shouts. It is in their own language after all. Have them use a wide variety. It would make a fight more interesting if they Fusro-died you across the map, or summoned animals to fight you. Then we get to the other issue. There is no large-scale impact. The only place that cares about the dragons running around and causing chaos is Whiterun. The other holds don't care, and yes, the reason for that is the Civil War, but that doesn't mean anything if Alduin is running around bringing back his dead dragon homies. Maybe if the dragons were to assault Windhelm or Solitude, or any capital city, have them interfere in the civil war and destroy both sides, something to get people more proactive with something that actually matters. Think of it like this. If the people, characters, NPCs, whatever, are in the middle of this shitstorm and don't give a fuck about what's going on around them, then why should we, the player, care about it either? It's not a big deal, so why worry about it at all? The questline as a whole could have worked if they'd fleshed out what they already had. Make it to where the blades were actually able to contribute in some way. Like have them make the Dragonborn go on a quest to retrieve a weapon that is efficient at slaying dragons. Dragonbane. It would make the sword seem important instead of some random item you find in the closet of Skyhaven Temple. Perhaps even have the blades look into the dragon cult and go after the dragon priest. Or have it to where the Thalmor are legitimately hunting down the blades, instead of that one-off thing where they were in the Ratway and are never heard from again after that. I feel like the Thalmor have legitimate reasons to go after the Dragonborn and the blades. They did crash their fancy party at the embassy, so have them establish a squadron and storm Skyhaven Temple. Then as a way of getting payback, you and the blades storm the Thalmor embassy and kill Elenwyn. Make the two groups feud over the Dragon Priest mask, because I know the Thalmor have an interest in them. There was this quest called Siege of the Dragon Cult, where there was this high elf guy named Valmir, who pretends to be a soldier in the Civil War, who was ordered to recover the mask. It was revealed he was a fake, and that he was taking orders from someone. It wouldn't be far-fetched for him to be a Thalmor agent. It would also build upon the lore of the Dragon Priest, since they served the dragons long ago, and with Alduin back, they are more than willing to serve him yet again. That was a wasted opportunity, just like the Civil War's importance as well. In the prophecy, the Civil War was implied to have an effect on the events leading up to Alduin coming back, yet nothing really comes of it during the main story, except the quest season unending, but that is optional, and all it does is make the Legion and Stormcloaks agree to a ceasefire, which I don't believe that either side would logically agree to, but that is not the point. I could go further into the details about the Civil War, but I'm going to give that its own video down the line. All I'm going to say about it is that there should have been more involvement from both sides. I mean, both Ulfric Stormcloak and General Tullius were both in Helgen when Alduin attacked, yet neither of these two decided we should do something about this. Okay then. All in all, the main story leaves a lot to be desired, which explains why there are some people out there who have never completed the main questline, or have done it years after the fact. There are honestly better questlines to do than this one. Is it the worst? No, I can think of at least two that I consider a lot lousier than this one. The main quest just needed more things added to it, make it longer, flesh out more characters, expand upon concepts that were already there, and for God's sake, make it to where if we choose not to kill Parthenax, then let there be an option to convince Delphine that he deserves to live, or to let us kill her. I'm perfectly content with either option. Now tell me, what do you think about the main quest? Do you agree with my analysis? If you could make any changes, what would you do to make it better? Tell me in the comment section down below. Now if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, and make sure you subscribe for more of that good old Skyrim content. Now until next time, I will catch you all on the flip side.